asserted, Ambassador, just jumping off of that earlier, the possibility for that practical cooperation exists without conflict of interest, that you view there to be no conflict of interest. And I do have to respectfully challenge you, I think, because there are a lot of Canadians who have a number of concerns about China and China's conduct towards Canada and Canadians. Your country detained 2 of our citizens for more than 1,000 days, and then all of a sudden released them once the CFO of a big Chinese company was released from house arrest. 4 of our citizens were executed earlier this year because of alleged drug crimes. An inquiry into foreign interference in this country asserted your country was the, quote, main perpetrator of foreign interference in Canada, and that the, quote, PRC views Canada as a high priority target. Our Prime Minister, in a debate just over a month ago, or just not even a month ago, when asked what the biggest security threat to Canada was, asserted it was China. Why should Canadians trust China to do more business with?
China and Canada conducting practical cooperation. We have a profound historical foundation, great complementarities, and we have actual needs for those practical cooperation. Because of a reason that everybody knows about, China-Canada relationship suffered setbacks in the past few years. And the causes of the event and also the merits of the case are very clear. But China now is ready to move on and look ahead. We are ready to work together with Canada to bring our relationship back onto the right track. But for that to happen, our relationship should be founded on the right basis. First of all, China and Canada should have a correct perception of each other. China always regards Canada as our partner, and we hope that Canada can also regard China as a partner. Second, mutual respect is important. And we should respect each other on the issues concerning each other's core interests. Mutual respect is a very important principle if one wants to have a relationship with another. And that also applies to state-to-state relations as well. And another thing for China and Canada to bring our relationship back onto the right track is that we need to seek common ground while reserving differences in a constructive way. China and Canada have a lot of differences, and this is very, very normal. Because we are different in history, we are different in culture, and we are different in political systems, and many other factors. But one very important goal of 2 countries to develop a relationship is to serve the interests of the people of the 2 countries. Whether China has interfered in Canada's internal affairs and whether China is a security threat to China, I have made China's position very clearly multiple times, and I am ready to share it with you here today as well. I can say it very clearly to you that China has never and does not have any interest in interfering in Canada's internal affairs. I think it is absolutely absurd and makes no sense to smear and attack China of interfering in other countries' internal affairs with all those kind of groundless and ambiguous excuses and pretexts. I think the increasing louder voices of calling for stronger cooperation with China here in Canada represents the will of the people.
And just one final question, because if I understand what you said correctly, it is that there is a lot of opportunity for both countries if we are able to put our differences aside. And you characterize those differences as normal. The issue, as I see it, is that there are many Canadians, based on not a desire to smear China, but assertions that their own government has made, evidence provided by that government, who don't feel like the differences are normal, who don't feel like what happened to Michael Kovrig and Michael Spavor was normal, or the 4 individuals who were executed because of alleged drug crimes, or foreign interference in our election system. I understand you deny that that is the case, but we have been shown otherwise by our own government. And I don't think they feel like that is normal. Do you understand that position?
As I said, in the past few years, the reason for the cooling China-Canada relationship was very clear. that happened between China and Canada were not initiated or caused by China. If we look back on the past few years of our relationship, I think we will be able to come to an objective conclusion. You mentioned the death penalty for the 4 criminals in China. In China, by our law, drug crime is a serious crime. No matter which nationality this criminal is of, whether they are Chinese, whether they are Canadians or from other countries, as long as they have committed drug crimes, they will be held accountable according to China's law. I think another point is that we should look at how big the damage these criminals and the crimes they have committed have caused to how many families in China. Because of drug crimes, many families, many people have suffered seriously, and we should pay attention to their human rights and pay attention to their well-being. So that is why China has adopted a zero-tolerance policy towards drug crimes, and we have made sure that drug problem is not as bad in China as in other countries. Because China has a population of 1.4 billion, not 40 million. If drug problem is allowed to be a rampant problem in China, it will not only cause damages to China, it will also cause damages to many other countries. So the zero tolerance policy against drug crimes of China is not only for the sake of the well-being of the Chinese people, but also for the greater world, the greater good of the whole world. So now we are at a very important point of time in China-Canada relationship. At this time, one thing is very important, that is mutual trust that you have mentioned. So in order to rebuild mutual trust and deepen the trust between our two sides, both sides should make joint efforts to build up positive factors in our relationship. So on this regard, I thank the Canadian friends for their long-term support of China-Canada relationship, and I look forward to continue having their support, including the support of the Canadian media.
I don't necessarily know what that means, and I will just really quickly point out that I know you say the evidence doesn't exist. The government has told Canadians something very different, and there have been, leaks of intelligence to show otherwise. But I will leave it on that note. I take the point that you made, and I appreciate you making the time for the conversation. Thank you very much, Ambassador.
Thank you.